I honestly have no cold opener for this. However, I will say that this will probably be pretty short and may not be a glowing recommendation. Stay tuned for what I mean. Robotech aired in 1985 as an amalgam of three separate anime: Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Super Dimension Cavalry Southern Cross, and Genesis Climber Mospeada. The result was a storyline spanning 3 generations that mashed these together for a wholly unique plot. At the time, it was very well received, though there's been a lot of polarizing over the years since the net made distribution easier, and there's a lot of purists. Think of it like the Power Rangers Super Sentai debate, only with the power of hipster otaku behind it. Voltron, on the other hand, started in 1984 as an adaptation of anime beast Go Lion, and the second series was Armored Fleet Dairuger 15. Fun fact, apparently it was originally going to be an adaptation of Future Robot Titanius, but World Event Productions just asked Toei for the ones with the lions, and they gave them Go Lion instead. That happy little accident created a sensation that swept to the top of the kids' programming in the mid-80s. So both were relative hits with a relatively long history in comics respectively. So in 2013, Dynamite Entertainment got the rights to Robotech and Voltron, and that's where this story comes in. An evil meteor sucks Voltron to Robotech's Earth, while the Earth's major ship, the SDF-1, is sucked over to Voltron's planet of Eris. Not much actually happens. And Voltron as a robot doesn't show up until the final issue. I know these are spoiler-free most of the time, but Buddha be damned, nothing of note happens! Tommy Yoon was the president of animation at Harmony Gold when Robotech Voltron came out from Dynamite Entertainment. He's got a small number of comics under his belt, like Speed Racer, a handful of Robotech comics, but mainly he was a story guy with very little comic work, save for the covers according to Wikipedia anyways. He's worked more as a designer more than anything else. I think that's why the first 2 issues of this really have a plot that's just someone giving a general overview in feel. However, something I didn't bring up in my Comics a Day is that issues 3, 4, and 5 are written by Bill Spangler. The reason that I should have brought this up is because those are the issues that actually had something happening in them, but not really enough. And with that, I'm going to go into a little bit of an editorial. The largest problem of these comics is that it's nearly 5 issues of exposition. Even when something big happens, like, oh no, Princess Allura is found with amnesia in Egypt, it's sped by so fast and resolved so quickly that it's a non-event. The only characters who got any form of development in this is Lotor, a Voltron character, but even that is, I just want Princess Allura back. This is a licensed comic in the worst way. All these characters do are explain and explain. When there are action beats, like Edward's trying to kill Keith so that Voltron Lion Tech can be used to aid the Alliance, it goes by so fast that there's no drama or weight to it. It almost feels like a burden and is trying to be swept away quickly to get back to all the talking. Now, I do understand these things in a first issue, or spliced throughout the series. I gave World Collide a buy it verdict, and there are some long exposition dumps in there. However, it's spaced out between character moments and action, and a plot moving forward. And that's not here. The fundamental of writing is to be interesting. Lord of the Rings may read like a college dissertation, but it became iconic because it was interesting. But I already know what some people are going to say. Well, it wasn't meant for you, it was meant for the fans of these franchises. To which I'll reply with what a friend of mine said when I shared the last issue from a Comics a Day. They tolerated it. So on a writing front, it is not that good. But what about the art? The art team behind this is a professional art company, though Tommy Yoon does the covers. The look itself is very reminiscent of the anime and screen caps, though more cleaned up and given a bit of a flow. It's actually not bad, it's pretty good. That's really all I have to say on that. This may be one of the shortest binging on comics I've done, but there's not a lot of depth to this miniseries, so there's not a lot of depth to what I'll say. So my verdict is, skip it. Skip it means it's not worth a read. However, it's more of a shrug like, and do what you want with it sort of thing, and not like a fully ignore it. If you're a fan, you may read this and be on a totally opposite page than me. The art's not bad, and maybe if you have a connection to these characters, this may work for you. And that's all for Binging on Comics today. Agree or disagree with me? Leave a comment below. Check out my other channels, A Comic a Day and ComicSins. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Links down below. And we now have a Patreon up for you to pledge for some exclusive insight and some choices at content. As always, stay golden, Inklings.